and welcome here to TalkFCB, and welcome back to the channel here today, guys, where Barça will indeed return to action this weekend, and it's a big game indeed, away at Real Sociedad. Not an easy opponent by any stretch of the imagination, and I think this one right here, it's a crucial game for us. We simply must see a reaction from this team after the defeat in El Clasico, and we do have today an almighty boost to our squad to help us on our way, because Pedri, he is back, and he's right here with us. We're going to be talking all about the game to come, so come on, and let's do this. Because certainly here, guys, as we are ready to kick off this weekend, it's important to note that we're entering a very important period for Barca once again here. We've got 3 games in the space of 8 days. Real Sociedad away on Saturday. We follow that up then away at Shakhtar in the Champions League. That's a big game there for our qualification from the group. And then next Sunday, we are back at the Olympic Stadium at home against Deportivo Alavés. And these are important games that we have to build up some momentum. And like I say, we simply must hit back after that damaging defeat against Real Madrid. Because when you are looking here at the La Liga table, first of all, it's quite clear that defeat in El Clasico has hit us hard. It really has done. We are now 4 points behind Real Madrid. Girona too are still flying high, and now we've even slipped behind Atletico in the league into 4th place there in La Liga, and Atletico Madrid still have 1 game in hand on us too. And I think even more so here this weekend, guys, Real Sociedad, they're right over our shoulders too. They are back there in 5th place, but this is an important one for us. We cannot afford here to lose this game. We cannot afford here to fall any further adrift in the title race. We've got to keep ourselves up there. We have to stay as close as we can to Real Madrid, and that means winning away at La Real. But that will not be easy, because as you can see right here, when you're looking at the form of Real Sociedad, it's very good. It is very strong indeed. They've actually only had 2 losses in La Liga all season long, and those came against Real Madrid and then to Atletico Madrid. And they've also had a really good start too in their Champions League group. They are currently unbeaten in the UCL and top of their group right now, and they did win in midweek in the Copa del Rey there against lower league opposition. And like I say, this game is going to challenge us to find our very best level. And I want to talk to you guys right here about Alejandro Balde, because there has been a lot of discussion in the media this week about Balde's recent form, or actually more than that, I would say, the lack of offensive output that we've seen from him in recent weeks. And don't forget, guys, in Balde, this was somebody who had been dominating from left back. And I don't mean just on that left side. He made central runs, he was cutting through opponents at will, and he was causing our opposition no end of problems. And where has that feeling gone? Where has that burst gone? Where has the energy gone from Alejandro Balde? He's only got the 1 assist so far this season, and he just looks at the moment a little bit subdued, a little bit, I think, fatigued in many ways. He's played a lot of games, but I also think there he's sort of being held back a little bit. And of course this has coincided with the arrival of João Cancelo on the right hand side, because obviously he's somebody who wants to be advanced, he wants the freedom to go forward, and we can't have both fullbacks at all times just bombing on, going forward at will, because that would leave too much space. That would leave us very vulnerable. But what I think is interesting right now is what we saw in El Clasico. Xavi, they're lining up with 3 centre-backs along the back line, and then that gave the fullbacks a bit more freedom. It gave them the licence to go forward together maybe a bit more often, to give Balde a little bit more freedom as well. And I'm just really interested here, especially when we're going to go on and talk about the lineup, if we see this repeated from Xavi, because we have to find a way to get the best out of not only Cancelo, but Balde as well. He can be such an incredible tool there, such an exciting player, and he's got such ability in his game. We cannot lose that. We cannot afford for him to be subdued, to not be as prominent and influential as he has been in this team, because with Balde at his best, he is a player that any opposition would fear. But I do think it was interesting, guys, looking at the game to come on Saturday. Xavi, in his press conference there, was asked about a number of topics. First of those was İlkay Gundogan and his words there after El Clasico. And it has been reported over the past 24 hours here that Gundogan has explained his words to the rest of the group. And I've got to say, guys, I didn't feel as though he needed to do that. He didn't need to explain himself. I think we could all see what he meant, and we could all understand where he was coming from. Gundogan, but I think Gundogan here, he does want to keep the peace. He didn't want to upset anybody with his words. He wasn't trying to single anyone out, but he just expects better. And he wants the team to do better. He wants to win. That is all that he wants to do. And Xavi basically alluded to that today. He said there is absolutely no internal issue with Gundogan's words after El Clasico. We don't have any problem with what he said. We did discuss it, and we're all on the same page. We're all here to win, and we agree with what he said. It's a winning mentality. And Xavi there agreeing with Gundogan and defending his words after El Clasico, which, like I say, is absolutely the right thing. But then, of course, we have the very latest updates on injuries. Now, the absolutely fantastic news is Pedri. He is back in the squad to face Real Sociedad. He is ready, apparently, according to Xavi there. He is 100% fit. He did say we didn't want to risk Pedri before. We didn't want to take any risks with him. But now, the sensations are great. He is feeling good. He's available in the squad, and he is 100%. He's trained very well, and to me, he looks ready. It is great news for the team, and I just can't really wait to see Pedri back again. Now, I don't think he's going to start this game. I don't think we're going to launch him back in. Of course we're not. We're still going to be careful with him, especially after what we spoke about yesterday when it comes to Pedri's injury problems, but it's still great there. It's still a psychological boost to have a player like him available in our midfield. He can be a game changer. He can be a difference maker, and what a feeling to have him back with the group. However, you know, as a Barcelona fan, we can't have too much good news all at once. You know, that would do something bad to us, I guess, because that never really happens, does it? Because Pedri, yes, is back, but Frenkie de Jong, he is not. And I just wonder here, has there been a slight setback in the recovery of Frenkie de Jong? Because Xavi did come out today. He said Frenkie is not quite ready. We will tell you when he was. I think Xavi was a little bit frustrated here about the injuries. He said he is still in a bit of pain. We will tell you when he will appear in the squad again. And apparently right now, the idea is that Frenkie won't return in this game, and he may not return for all of next week either. Not against Shakhtar, and also not against Alaves, with it being said right now that maybe towards the end of November, on the 25th, he could make the game against Rayo Vallecano. And that is a surprise, because Frenkie, just a few days ago, he was on the verge of returning. Even against Real Madrid, he was very nearly there. He was training with the group. He was looking like he could be involved in the squad. He didn't quite make it then, but we fully expected him to be back now. And I just wonder there's still a bit of pain. Obviously, Xavi doesn't want to take any risks. The club don't want to put pressure on him, and we're still waiting for that pain to ease. But it is not ideal when it comes to Frenkie de Jong. We were waiting for him. We were hoping for him. He is such an important player, as we discussed earlier on this week. And has there been that bit of a setback, which again will keep him out for maybe 1, 2, or even 3 more Barca games? But indeed, guys, with all of that being said, we have to move on to what our lineup could be tomorrow against Real Sociedad. And Xavi actually has a good amount of options for this game, and he's also been buoyed but the fact we've had a full week of rest. That's almost unheard of. These days, Barca players do not get that long to recover and really get the energy back, but we've had a full week, so we should be ready to really attack this game. And I just wonder, guys, I'm looking at the team right now without Frenkie, and I'm thinking about what Xavi may do, because I think there we might see some sort of repeat from what we saw in El Clasico. I wouldn't be surprised if we lined up with Araujo, with Christensen, with Inigo Martinez, all of them along that back line. Koundé, if he's ready, but I'm not quite sure that he will be starting in this game. Cancelo and Balde again, like we spoke about before, allowing them that bit more freedom, giving them that security behind them of having 3 centre-backs. And the midfield, that's the key part for me, because if we line up, I feel, with 3 centre-backs, we can afford to go a bit more offensive midfield. We can afford to start there Gundogan, Fermin and Xavi, and then bring on Pedri later in the game, with João Felix and probably Lewandowski leading the line. But that is only one option there with Xavi. But the reason that I say that I think he'll line up with 3 centre-backs is I think that if Xavi only lines up with 2 centre-backs against Real Sociedad, I think he feels like he has to have Romeo in there then. If we were only going to line up there with a flat back 4, then I think he would go more defensive in that midfield, and that would mean playing Romeo, that would mean altering the pace of our game, and I think he'd rather it like this. He'd rather line up there with 3, have a more dynamic midfield, allow them a bit more freedom, allow the fullbacks to be pushed on. Of course, you do sacrifice their attacking output. I would like to see Lamine Yamal. We want to see more of him. Of course, Ferran Torres as well has given us good options in Lewandowski's absence, but I'm just wondering here, guys, what do you make of that setup? Because against Real Madrid, I thought the lineup started well. It was what happened later in the game which really affected us, and without Frenkie, we still have to find solutions. We still have to find a way to balance that midfield and balance that defence. So guys, let me know on the lineup. I really hope that we're going to be able to bounce back, to show a reaction, to show some steel about our mentality and get a really important win here. Real Sociedad, they're a very good team. We cannot take them lightly. We are going to have to perform close to our best, and let's hope these players can deliver for us on Saturday. I will see you after the game for the full match reaction. Thank you indeed for joining me, for all of your support, and there is more for you as well over on TalkFCB. I will catch you soon, of course, guys, but until next time, as always, Visca, El Barça.